We are super excited to bring you the very first marathon of Agents in the Trenches, a place and a space where we open up our playbooks, we open up our hearts, our minds, we open up the curtains so you can look behind the scenes as to what is really going on in our day to day life as a real estate agent, as a team leader, as a broker. Everything that we know is happening behind the scenes. We want to share it with everyone. And why do we do that? Because Agents in the Trenches is designed to ignite your potential, to give you the thought provoking concepts, ideas, that are going to just really take you to that next level or provoke you to think about, I must do something different. Because there's so many people right now that are stale, that are stuck, that are stagnant, that perhaps are wondering, why am I not closing? I mean, I was closing so good in, 2021, 2022, 2023, but now it's game time. Now it's time for us to really hunker down and start doing the things that the top 2% of the real estate industry producers have been doing, because it's no longer real estate on easy street. So I hope that you are going to take out a paper, your notebook, your pen. Doesn't matter where you're watching from, just listen in, because I'm going to be sharing some very, very innovative things with you that have worked for me in the past. And they say that history tends to repeat itself. So once you know how to make money in real estate, you're never going to go hungry again. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have, is that we got used to doing real estate on easy street. We got used to taking orders. And now we've got to get out there into the trenches and make things happen. So we're going to kick this off with very interesting conversation. I'm going to let my running partner here, my co-host, tell you about today and how today is going to go down, because this is the very first marathon of Agents in the Trenches, Southwest Florida. We are going all in. We're diving deep and we're taking this to another level. So Talia, thank you for leading and holding down the fort while I've been away. And, it's crazy because now we are realizing how much more like me you have become. And it's really kind of like magical and creepy and spooky at the same time. But, I know that we're in the right place. We're doing the right thing. I know that we are, leading by example, being those role models that other agents and team leaders and brokers are hungry for. So thank you so much for putting this together.
Yes, well, thank you for, leading the way. You're such a powerful leader. And, sometimes I look, like, I kind of reflect and I'm like, wow, like, if I never met you, right? Like, where would I be? And honestly, I'm like, I don't know. Even the thought itself is like, I probably honestly wouldn't even be in real estate at this point, because of all, like, everything that has transpired from the time that I got into real estate till now. It's a scary path. Like, it's something where it just continuously is changing and evolving. And if you don't know what you're doing, a lot of times, you may think more than once that it's time to throw in the towel, right? So I'm like super grateful. And, yes, it is a little bit creepy sometimes when we have like the same thought at the same time. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is, I hear you in my mind sometimes. And I'm like, okay, what would Lucy do? So it's awesome. But I'm super excited for today. I think this is going to be one of many marathons. Maybe we can do this once a month, right? Where we bring in people and we talk about different things. But today, basically how it's going to go is we are going to kick it off with you, Lucy Quinones, right? Talking about a very innovative program that you have put together, and it's helping a lot of people out. So it's called the Rent to Own program. So stay tuned for that. Then from 10:30 to 11, we have Maggie Perez with Guaranteed Rate. Is going to be coming in with some mortgage updates. She's going to be sharing some insights there. From 11 to 11:30, we have Joey Margolies. I hope I'm saying his last name right. With Home Warranty. So he's going to come in a little bit about Home Warranty, and what that looks like. And then we're going to end it off with Rocky Mariano, an insurance agent with Insurance Factory from 11:30 to 12. So it's going to be jam-packed. We have some nice commercials in between, so just to keep the momentum going. And you definitely want to stay for the whole time if you can. If not, that's okay, because it is going to be recorded, and we always share the recordings on our social media as well. So
I love it. And it's crazy because we're always innovating. My mind goes wild, and I start thinking, what else can we do? What else can we do? What else can we do? So tell the audience that a little bit about how this whole marathon idea came about, our conversation, and how this all came about.
Well, I mean, every time we get together and we're talking, you're always asking, okay, what can we do better, right? Like, how can we level up with what we're doing? So, Agents in the Trenches, I mean, if you've watched us before, our earlier episodes when we first started last year, I mean, it was just a conversation between you and I, right? Where we would just talk about what we've been doing, where we were hitting the streets, door knocking expires, door knocking FISBOs, and basically what, we're seeing in the market, right? We were actually agents, well, we still are, but we were really agents in the trenches, going in there and being the voice of that, right? And then we kind of evolved into bringing other people, right? Bringing other people from, the industry, and whether they were an agent or a lender or somebody that's, actually in the trenches as well, coming in and getting their perspectives. So then that, evolved into just a conversation with multiple people, or actually one person, and then it went to multiple people. So we constantly evolved Agents in the Trenches, and now it's like, okay, well, how can we make this a whole TV show, right? Like, we just go on, we're on for 2 hours, we have different people coming in, and just coming in on different topics and different perspectives, and you were like, let's do a marathon. And I was like, okay, tell me more. Talk to me. What do you mean? So then you told me, you gave me some ideas, maybe we can do it for 2 hours. We have people coming in talking for about 30 minutes. And then I'm like, all right, let's put the pieces together. And here we are. We're rolling it off, our very first marathon, and it's going to be exciting.
Yes, it is. So Southwest Florida, there's one thing in my heart, and that is to build community, right? You've been hearing me for the last 2 years talk about build community, bring people together, do things where, we're really in total collaboration, total contribution. For the last 3 years, I've dedicated my whole mind, heart, and soul to being the expert and becoming the voice of experience, right? Because obviously everybody knows I've been in real estate for a very long time, but how many people do we have in the industry that have been in real estate for a very long time, but they don't open up and be that voice, right? They don't share the good, the bad, and the ugly. They don't share their playbooks. And, after joining eXp Realty and bringing my real estate organization to eXp Realty, I started to see how big players really collaborate, because I come from a world of frenemies. I always say it, that's where I lived for 20 years, in the land of frenemies. What are frenemies? Are people that are your friends, but they're really not, right? So when I experienced the power of collaboration, when I experienced the, selflessness in, the top 2% of real estate leaders, when I experienced the power of culture that we have at eXp Realty, I said, you know what, that's what I want to do in Southwest Florida. So I don't care what logo, brand, name, franchise, independent you're with. I want to be that voice. That was my decision. I want to be the voice. I want to be the voice of experience, of authority. I want to help everyone and anyone that, I can help, regardless of whether you align with me or don't align with me, regardless of you being part of my organization or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it's interesting because my whole life, I have run my business based on serving my community. I feel I am a servant to my community. I feel that the place where I live, work, and play, that's my community. And I've always wanted to be a frontline leader. I've always worked hard to be a frontline leader. I've always worked hard to serve. Get by giving has always been my philosophy. I give, and the more I give, I already know in my heart, my mind, my soul that I'm going to get, right? That principle of the golden rule, treat others as you would want to be treated, the principles of sowing and reaping, right? The more you sow, the more you give. And it's crazy how after the pandemic, more people started rising up to the top and really representing that level of mindset, right? It's not about me. If I want to keep it, like my favorite coach, John Teplak, says, if you want to keep it and you want to grow, give it all away. And it's a beautiful philosophy, and more people need to be part of that philosophy. More people need to take that stance. More people need to open their mind and, set that ego aside, right? Where it's all about me, 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 and make it all about we. How can we grow together? How can we be stronger together? How can we, make a difference together? So that's exactly how he says it. If you want to keep it and you want it to grow and you want it to blossom, give it all away. Give it all away. Because the more you give, the more you get. And it reminded me of one of my trainers back in the day, Floyd Wickman. Floyd Wickman is a man that he's around. He's been training real estate agents, team leaders, and brokers. Oh my goodness, since the 1970s, or early 80s. Floyd Wickman. And one of the things that he would teach is get by giving. And that was one of his core values. And I learned that back in 2014 in his own way, where he would say, we live by a get by giving principle. And I adopted it then, and I continue to adopt it today, now in a new, more, contemporary, new generation way of saying it, which is how John Cheplack says it. And he says, if you want to keep it and you want it to grow, give it all away. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to serving. We are public servants. We are here to serve our community. And that's how the Rent to Own program began. How can I help those people that no one is paying attention to? How can I help those people that also want to make the American dream of home ownership a reality, but no one is making a way for them? Because obviously we all want to sell multi-million-dollar homes. We all want to be in the luxury business. We all want to be in the commercial business. But what about changing lives? What about the people that have been turned down from being able to make the American dream of home ownership? I mean, I'm an immigrant into this country. We all know the American dream of home ownership is a reality, but it's really not everybody's reality. So I remember back when I started in real estate, the way that I really got my wheels going and I started building traction and I started scaling was by doing free first-time home buyer seminars. And I was so broke, I would do them at the library because it was free. If you were doing a community serving event, they let you use the library for free. And that's still true today. You can go to the library, you can do a home buyer seminar for the community for free. And because I've always looked for ways of, having the cutting edge, I started doing them in Spanish, right? So I would do seminarios para primeros compradores gratuitos, right? So free first-time home buyer seminars, and I geared it to the Spanish community. But in 2020, after the pandemic, I said, you know what? It's time to take this to the next level. And I started the Rent to Own program. It's not a lease option. It's not, put a whole bunch of money down and hopefully one day you can buy. It's literally a Rent to Own program, authentic, organic, unique. And that's what, I decided to start. And it worked. And it worked. And it works. If you work it, it works. So I'm going to share it. And I hope that, those agents that are watching now or later that want to implement it, they can also see a little bit about it. So I think we're going to share maybe one or two or maybe three slides that I have. But then, we'll do more time because I know at 10:30 we have our next guest, right? Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh my gosh, yes, it does. All right, let's go ahead and share it. And if you're watching live, I would love for you to go ahead and write #live. And then I want to do something a little different. If you can, be willing to comment one thing that you're grateful for. So like that, we could just be like, just in the same atmosphere of Lucy saying giving, right? Like, let's be grateful for what we have. So I'd love for you to just type in one thing that you're grateful for. But let's go ahead and get started, Lucy.
Yeah, so go ahead and put the first slide. So in 2021, I took the rent to own program and I said, how can I take it to the next level? So I called it the SOS project, right? Start owning systems, because really what I realized at the rent to own program that is designed authentically and uniquely by Q International Experts Network is a system. It's a system of people that I bring together to help one person be able to make the American dream of homeownership a reality. So this is not your traditional, are you pre-approved? Are you pre-qualified? What's your credit score? No, the first thing that I do, I call it, I diagnose the person that is looking to make the American home dream of buying a home. Find out where are you? Where are you in this process? What is your diagnosis? So in doing that, it helps me to be able to tell this person and guide this person and direct this person through uncharted waters. So when we started doing the rent to own program, which then I repackaged and I called it the SOS project, Start Owning System, right? My own, I put my own flair into things. I like to emulate what big people do, but I don't like to copycat. Like, there's a difference between emulating, which is imitating what someone does, but then you put your own flair, your own flavor, your own vibe. So I called it the SOS, Start Owning System project, right? And this is what I teach my agents, because then this became something that I started teaching my agents. The good news is that shortly after we closed, many people, we worked with people that needed, time to purchase their home. For example, they needed to, okay, I want to stop renting and I want to start owning. That's the first thing that we have to help people identify. Are you committed to stop renting? That's the first question, because I can't make anybody buy. There's no agent, team leader, broker on the planet that can make anyone buy. They have to have the mindset. Am I willing? Am I committed to stop renting and start owning so that I can be helped? And the first thing that we do is a buyer consultation. Everybody's like right now on a rampage, like, oh my God, things are going to change in July. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Oh my good Lord. The market is going to wipe out a whole bunch of agents because now they don't know how to work with buyers, and now the buyer has to pay the commission, and how am I going to do? Guys, hello, wakey. Ever since I started in real estate in the year 2000, first thing that I was taught by one of our great trainers, Mike Ferry, who I didn't even have the $237 to pay. I had to borrow it. So don't tell me you don't have money. Don't give me your broke stories. I've been there. I've done that. I am an expert broke person. I come from being an expert broke person. And the first thing that he taught me in that, and I'll never forget it, I went to productivity school. That's what he calls it. It was $237. I did not have the $237. And I was so scared to even ask anyone for help that I had my office mate, who you met, Rose. Remember Rose?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Rose, who was an experienced agent, did me a favor. She did Lucy Quinones a favor, and she went to our broker and told him that I was scared to ask for an advance on my commission of $237 so that I could go to the Mike Ferry Productivity School. I was so scared, I didn't even want to ask her. And so she asked him for me, and he said yes. And the first thing that I learned is you have to do a buyer consultation. So guys, this is not new to the business. This is new to the people that have not done real estate the right way. And, I'm going to say it like it is. Team leaders, it's your responsibility to have people that are on your team that are well trained, well empowered, and held accountable. Hey, if you don't want to learn how to do buyer consultations, you know what? This is one of our core values. We work with excellence. And so I'm not the team for you. I'm not the leader for you. I'm not the broker for you. But buyer consultations, I've been doing them since the year 2000. They're not a new thing. And that's now the only thing we need to add on there is this is what, my services are going to cost you. And this is what I'm going to do in exchange for that. And we move on. So I say that to say this. The first step in the Rent to Own SOS program, Start Owning System project, is buyer consultation. Because I've got to know who you are, what you do, where you're going, where you are coming from, and I've got to meet you where you're at. So that's the first thing that we do. And then we take them through a process. I have a process for everything. I tell, this, Ali, I tell everyone. I've been telling my staff ever since I've had a staff since the year 2005, don't change the what? The system. Don't change the system. I've got a system for opening up the office. Don't change it. And you know me, I come in and I inspect what I expect. And listen, we got to be real, right, Dali?
Yes, right.
When I go look for that open and close checklist, hey, I say, there's a couple of things that are missing. Let's go check out, right, the open and close checklist. And that's where we identify what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what we got to change, where we won, where we lost. But I say that to say this, the buyer consultation is the first step. Without that, I cannot help anyone. But you know what, Dalia? The beautiful thing is we got people to being able to own in 2020. I remember a story of a gentleman that had, oh my goodness, this guy had really bad credit and he had 2 car repos, not one, but 2. And 4 months later, he was ready to close on the house. So the rent to own program, real quick, right? Because I'm not going to go any deeper. Our time is coming up. The rent to own program basically is an opportunity for the expert, myself, and my team, right? People at Q International, real estate experts, to come in and diagnose. So I get to be the physician, right? So I get to tell my agents or anyone that wants to come in, if you want to win, you come and play with us. If you don't want to win, then you can just, hang around and listen and watch us play. I tell everyone, bring the people, and I will conduct the seminar. I will conduct the presentation because I'm the doctor. My job is to diagnose. So I bring experts in. I created a group of expert advisors, mortgage person, credit restoration person. Sometimes I have to bring in a tax professional. Sometimes I have to bring in an attorney, right? So I already know once I diagnose the potential buyer, I know who I need to bring in from my expert advisors. And, sometimes we've got to bring in, a title person. It doesn't matter who we have to bring in. My job is to diagnose the potential buyer, and it becomes a huge opportunity for my agents. And why do I do this? Because I want my agents to be scaling and winning. I don't want them to be, just looking for that needle in a haystack. Oh, who can buy? No. Everybody can buy. Let's bring in the masses. Let's bring in all the renters. Our biggest market is renters right now. All you have to do, if you're part of Q International, all you have to do if you want to learn more about this and connect with me is raise your hand and say, oh my gosh, I want to take my business to the next level. And so you get to bring in all the renters. Our biggest market is the rental market. And through the SOS project, the rent to own system, where you literally, because there's a lot more to this, right? You literally are able to move the person. Listen to me very well. I know what we can do. I am an expert strategist, negotiator we literally can move that buyer into the home they are going to close on. And there's a way to do it, and there's a process to do it, and we've done it, and it works. And we start making renters homeowners. So that's what it's all about. But there's a lot more to it, and I'm not going to get any deeper into it because we're ready for our next guest. So what do you think about the Italia? You didn't even know I had this presentation.
I didn't. I mean, you've told me about it, right, verbally. So, I know how it works, but I didn't know you had this presentation, which I think is awesome. And I would love to, I think we need a separate thing for just this presentation, right? A separate StreamYard for this, because I think this is really valuable.
I think what we need to do, me and my visionary moments, I think what we need to do is do our next marathon dedicated to the SOS project. And we need to bring our Q International experts network business partners, our agents, and we need to break this down, and we need to do it live so that everyone and anyone that wants to see what we're doing behind the scenes can actually see it. Because it's crazy, but I've got the whole arsenal. I just need the army of agents to come in. We need hands on deck. So if you're an agent out there and you're stuck and you're not scaling and you want to win, come play with us. Raise your hand, connect with us. I'm not looking to recruit agents. I'm really not. I'm looking to align with like-minded business partners.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I love it. I think that this is such an amazing opportunity for people. And you're right. There's a lot of renters right now. And what's crazy is that I speak to some of them, and they don't even know that this stuff exists. You can do things like this, right? Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, there's just so many opportunities for us as, real estate agents in the trenches, right? That we can open up more possibilities, but just by knowing that this is an option and presenting it to people. So yeah, right. We have some good things in store for us here at Q International, and we have our agents, kind of working the system, right? And starting to do some of this stuff, which is inviting people and telling them this is the option. So super excited for that.
So I know we have a little commercial before we bring up our next guest. So thank you, Talia, for this opportunity to share this. I didn't even know. I'm going so fast. I just got back from South America, and I was like, okay, so what are we doing? I'm like, where's our first guest? And you're like, it's you. Oh, okay. I share that because I want people to know, you know what? Don't waste so much time getting ready to get ready. You got to get ready every day, right? I had this presentation put together since 2021, and I've got it and I've shared it, and so I'm ready. The question is, are you ready? So we'll be right back. And we'll continue with this great conversation.
Awesome.
Have you asked yourself what are the possibilities that you could take your business not just locally, but nationally and internationally? Well, that is the future of real estate. Hey guys, Lucy Quinones, international real estate and business coach, broker since 2005, and your friend. And I wanted to come by and share with you the vision of expansion. What does that mean? In real estate, there's really no frontiers that we cannot transcend. Real estate is not only done in the US, it's done in the US and Canada, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean, South America, all over the planet. There's real estate transactions being done. Now, the truth is that you have to capture that vision, and this is your moment. When we look at the stats for the National Association of Realtors and the amount of billions of dollars that are being invested in Florida alone by foreigners, it is impressive what an opportunity we all have. But I want to invite you to really take a look at this opportunity of expansion and maybe taking your business, your product, your new construction homes, your model homes, your developments into other frontiers. And if you're interested in talking more about that, I invite you to have a conversation with me, no holds bar, and I'll open up my playbook and show you how I have expanded from my local market to my national market and now my international market. I look forward to chatting with you and taking this expansion vision to another level.
Oh, that was good, 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 good. We're really taking this to the next level. So, speaking of
Yeah.
next level, let's talk about our next guest.
Yes. So this next guest, I'm gonna give him a few minutes to come on, but his name is Rocky Mariano, and he's an insurance agent with Insurance Factory. I've actually had the pleasure to be able to work with him in some transactions. He knows his stuff. He loves what he does, and you can tell just by the way he presents it, right? Like you can feel the energy. So yes, he's gonna bring just shine some light on a few things that we should be looking out for as real estate agents, right? Giving some insights about that, and it's gonna be a good conversation. What do you feel about Rocky Mariano? He's such I don't know, he's an incredible person.
So, when we talk about building community and when we talk about aligning with frontline leaders and people that, we're able to align with, Rocky Mariano, right? I call him the Rocky Balboa of insurance, is really someone that we met because of the Southwest Florida Real Estate Mastermind. That other thing that we do every month to bring community together. And so when I met him, I was so impressed because he definitely has a heart for teaching. He has a heart for sharing his knowledge. And, you got to give credit where credit is due. And this is what I see my business partners doing in other markets in Florida, right? So when I look at my business partners, I'm like, oh my God, they're doing events and they're, part of strong communities and they're bringing people together and they're opening up their playbooks. And I'm like, heck, if they could do it, I could do it, because I know Southwest Florida definitely needs it. So, Rocky, we met because of the Southwest Florida Real Estate Mastermind, which, by the way, our next event is going to bring the top 4 most influential people leading organizations in Southwest Florida. I don't know if we should even share a little bit about the flyer, maybe if we have that in a little bit. But could you imagine little me, right? Because we all have limiting thoughts. We all have that limiting mindset, and we all know that we have to call it what it is, right? We have those limiting beliefs. So I still see myself, oh my God, little me, bringing the 4 presidents of the 4 most influential organizations in Southwest Florida together in one stage, in one space and place on May 29th at the Hilton Embassy Suites in Estero. And I can't wait. I can't wait to unveil, think about this. These are the 4 most influential real estate industry organizations, and their presidents are going to be speaking about what they do and how they do it. And the topic is, how did they reach their peak performance? How have they reached that peak performance? So I can't wait. I can't wait for, May 29th. And I hope that everyone that is watching, I know we're going to share in a little bit the link. So good morning to everyone. Actually, yes, good morning to everyone that is watching. Show us some love, share this live. And I think we're ready to go with our next guest. So take it away, Tali.
All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring up Rocky Mariano to the stage. Hi, Rocky, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know if you were able to hear our presentation about you, but
can you hear me?
We're super excited to have you.
We can hear you now, yes.
Can you hear us?
I think we got to give Rocky a little bit of time to get his audio. Rocky, let us know in the chat when you're ready, if you can hear us, if you can see us, if we're ready to go. And the beauty of live TV, right? The beauty of live TV is that it is blooper filled, right? So let us know when you're ready, Rocky, and we will go ahead and bring you in. But May 29th, Ali, what are you expecting for May 29th?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm excited to hear, that we're having these top-notch players, right? Like these top-notch people that they all had, they all started from somewhere, and now look at where they're at. And just to hear, I'm sure we're gonna hear some amazing stories, get their experiences. And I think that when are in a room like that, when you're hearing people, when you're hearing people's story, you kind of like you get inspired and you're like, wow, like this person started here and now they're there. I can do it too. So I think it's going to be incredible. I'm just super excited to see a room full of people, just with like-minded, looking to grow, looking to, scale and just come together and build that community, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think Rocky's ready. Rocky, welcome back to the stage. Can you hear us? Can you?
Yes, ladies, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Here
hear
we
you.
go. Hi, how are you, Rocky?
Hi, thanks for having me. Thank you, Lucy, and thank you, Talia.
Yes.
And good morning to everybody. I wanted to say, Lucy, that was amazing. The buyer consultation, I think that's spectacular. Sort of like when you go to the doctor and you're not feeling too well, or you're feeling, you know what I mean? It's like blood work, kind of see where you're at, blood panel work. Where are you at? And
Yes.
I think I've mentioned it before, and I'm sure you're gonna agree. Like Talia just said, you have to start somewhere. You have to, you're not born with $250,000 in the bank, and this is gonna go for your down payment, and you're gonna open a business with this. You gotta start somewhere. And if you're not already start somewhere, at least you gotta set goals or see where you stand with the buyer consultation to see what steps need to be taken, whether it's credit, whether it's you need down payment. Perhaps you can get a down payment assistance you qualify for, or have the money for the down payment, or have money for closing costs. We can always negotiate as realtors, as agents, to get the closing costs for the client. So I think that's phenomenal. I think that's spectacular what you're doing with the buyer consultations. It really shines the light on the buyer client to let them know where they stand and where they could possibly go. I wanted to, obviously I'm in the insurance industry and real estate industry, but I wanted to talk about a few things. Of course, if you're a renter and you're looking to buy, you have to, begin somewhere, like Talia said just now. So as part of this whole thing, you gotta see where your credit stands. You gotta see what your buying power is, and then eventually you're gonna find the house. And in this house, you're gonna conduct an inspection. As you all know, in a real estate transaction, let's say you're pre-qualified, you're ready to go, and with your agent, you start looking at properties, and you finally come across one that you like. So what takes place after that is there's three major points in the real estate transaction, if not more, but off the top of my head. You have number one, going under contract. So if you're successful or going under contract, congratulations. After going under contract, you're going to have inspections. So a major ticket item is the inspection and the appraisal. So you have going under contract, pre-contract negotiations. Then you have inspection, if there's going to be negotiations based on what's found, or if the house is insurable or, habitable, for the lack of a better word. And three, you're gonna have to go through the appraisal process. And then of course, title has to check out, and there can be any liens on the property. There can be any issues title wise with the property, with liens or a cloud in the title or whatever it is, so that you can close. And of course, mortgage approval. So basically, I want to talk about the insurance portion. I've mentioned this before, but there are 5 usually in total inspections that are part of a real estate transaction. The first one is your general home inspection that checks overall everything. Then you have the termite or rodent inspection to check for termites and mice and stuff. Then you have the if you have a pool, a pool inspection. So those three items are for the house itself, for the real estate transaction itself. Then you have 2 insurance inspections. Now, major rule of thumb is a 4-point inspection is only necessary if the house is 20 years or older. If the house is 20 years or older, you're going to have a 4-point inspection. Most insurance carriers are going to require it. 4-point checks the roof, electrical, plumbing, heating, and AC. So those in a 4-point inspection for a home. And we want to make sure that everything in those 4 items checks out. One, because the buyer client wants to make sure that they're buying a property that's not gonna give them issues down the line. 2, it has to be insurable, especially if you're gonna get a loan. If there's no insurance, there's no loan. So we want to look into those items directly. Then you have the wind mitigation inspection, which I always encourage all my clients, buyers, and current homeowners to order, because it's going to give you the most discounts possible. There's about 7 discounts in that inspection that you can apply depending on what's going on with the house, or what kind of roof, what kind of roof geometry, how the roof to wall connection is, etc. That's going to be your wind mitigation inspection, and is going to get you the most savings you possibly can obtain in a policy. So I wanted to obliterate the situation of, as a real estate agent, once you go under contract and you perform the inspection. Standard, if I'm not mistaken, 7 days for a real estate transaction inspection. In those 7 days, the buyer's agent and the buyers should already know, what state the house is in, how many years of useful life left the roof has. Is the electrical panel okay? Does the AC and water heater work okay without leaks or any defects currently? Those are major ticket items that if they're not up to code or standard, then you cannot obtain insurance. So as a buyer's agent, as a real estate agent working for your buyer, once you see, example, a double tap, this is the most common deficiency in a 4-point inspection, right? Double tap on the electrical panel. That can cause a fire, right? Because the electrical panel's working beyond where it needs to work, because there's 2 cables connected into one bay. So long story short, you need to, as an agent, be able to read simply, just as the general inspection and the termite inspection and the pool inspection, if there's a pool, are very important. So is the 4-point and the wind mitigation, because that's going to determine how you're going to be able to obtain insurance, or if you're not going to be able to obtain insurance. And this is where the negotiations begin further, right? You did an inspection. The roof has, example, 3 years left. Most carriers require 5 years of useful remaining life on a roof in order to bind the policy and issue the policy. Otherwise, there's no policy. And if there is no policy, then basically there's no transaction, because you can't get a loan without insurance. So I just wanted to highlight, those things and bring it up to par. And then eventually, I know we're all busy and we'll have a lot going on, but one of these days, if possible, Lucy and Talia, I would love to kind of put on the screen the inspections and what to look for, because if I show you the shortcuts as a buyer, as an agent, you're going to be able to just kind of like cut through the chase and know where you are and where you stand as the buyer or as the buyer's agent, and how to negotiate. Because if you do this correctly and properly, you might be able to get a new roof from the seller, because the seller's eager to sell. You're 3 weeks into the contract, 2 weeks into the contract, into the transaction. The buyers want to buy, seller wants to sell. Guess what? If the roof has less than 5 years left, example, the current buyer that they're under contract with, this buyer cannot obtain insurance. If this buyer cannot obtain insurance, they get out of the contract, another buyer comes in, they're going through the contract process again, they're going to run into the same situation. Right. They're not going to be able to get insurance and not close. So might as well, as a real estate agent, you're going to be a hero, and the buyer's going to feel protected by you, like you're really looking out for them, which we always are. But speaking in generalities, you're going to look good in front of your client by looking at these deficiencies that can be taken care of prior to closing at seller's expense, or something can be worked out in the transaction, negotiated some type of way, so that the buyer can close, the seller can sell, and the buyer understands and finally gets a good deal, and it's not feeling left out in the transaction where I'm going to have to replace this roof in 3 years.
Let me ask you a quick question. Um, you were saying earlier, right, when you joined us, that you like the fact about the way that I run real estate, which is first doing a buyer consultation. And by the way, that's not just for the rent to own program. That should be done all the time. And I've always done it. And that's what I've always taught. You do a buyer consultation. And the reason I do the buyer consultation is because we have to diagnose. That's what I call it. I come from the medical field. So in my mind, everything is, I want to make doctor money. If I want to make doctor money, I have to act like a doctor. What we're going to be doing at the rent to own seminars that we're going to be bringing to the area is exactly that, bringing in professionals like yourself that are going to take away the stigma and the scary part out of becoming a homeowner, because there's a lot of people out there that, they haven't even looked into, where am I in making the American dream of homeownership a reality? So we're going to need people like yourself that could really break it down. And what I wanted to ask you is, let's talk a little bit about the stigma that exists right now in Florida, in our area, because of the last hurricane, right? Like even my community, there's still houses that are just now getting their roofs put back in, and we're already, headed to the next hurricane season very soon. So where is the world of real estate as far as these flood insurance, right? Where are we? Break it down for us a little bit so we can remove some of the fear factor and stigma of that.
Yeah, so I have about 4 carriers on board for flood. We're issuing policies on a daily basis. It really depends. Flood is kind of tricky because certain areas get rezoned. So I've had clients, for example, that they're in one company and they're looking for a better price, they're looking for a better premium, they haven't had any claims, example. So I quote them, and 9 out of 10 times is going to be through Citizens. Believe it or not, Citizens is the only carrier that actually makes you, if you're in a flood zone, even though flood is excluded from your homeowner's policy, from the HO3, HO8, DP3, DP1 policies, and flood is not included. It's specifically in bold letters stated, flood is not included in this policy, in a Citizens policy particularly. They make you carry flood insurance on there. So it's kind of tricky when it comes to flood. I'm just speaking in general, kind of just speaking out loud. But the flood, we have the carriers, we're issuing the policies. The rezoning of the flood zones just happens constantly. I've had clients that are not in a flood zone, and a year or two later they get rezoned and they're now in a flood zone. But I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if I went off on a tangent.
No, it does, because there's people that are wondering, right? So if I'm going to buy a home, and that's something we're going to have to tackle head on, so we're talking about the rent to own program, right? Because my team and I are going to be launching a massive promotion on finding those renters. You know how many renters are in our area? There's gazillions. You see all these buildings going up, and that's great. It's good, but these people are paying 100% of interest rate on their home expenses, right? So what we are going to do is bring the bridge, like I said earlier, between, do you really want to stop renting and do you really want to commit to home ownership? And we're going to diagnose the people. We're going to know where they're at. We're going to know what their weak links are. We're going to put a game plan in place. We're going to bring in the expert advisors to be able to assist them. And then literally what we're going to do is go out there and talk to the sellers, because we all know the market is stuck, right? We all know the market is slowed down. We all know that people are wanting to sell and they're not being able to sell. Especially, who this is going to help a lot as well is the builders. Because if a builder has a house sitting there bringing in no money, and I'm going to bring him the solution, which is a future buyer, an end buyer. But here's what we got to do first. We got to move this person in. They're going to pay rent. They're going to pay their rent. They're going to put their down payment down, which, by the way, is only going to be 3.5%. So don't think it's going to be, like 50% down or anything. This is really for people that want to make home ownership a reality. But I know the insurance part is going to be very important, because if they have to pay a flood zone policy, right, that is very high, that's going to affect their ratios.
100%. And by the way, there's a website. I have the link, but if you just Google FEMA flood determination by address, example, if you're the agent or you're the buyer and you want to look at these 15 homes in the next and on the weekend, you can grab that property address, enter it in the FEMA website, push enter, and it'll tell you if you're in a flood zone or not. So that could be a good little tool to know if you're going to have to carry flood insurance or not.
That's very good. I think that's extremely good. So when we have our rent to own, start owning systems project seminar, you can come and start popping those addresses in there so people can even do their own homework. Now, the other thing is, what do you see happening as far as the insurance industry with new construction? Is there anything we should know? Any good, bad, or indifferent things that we should know? Because there's a lot of new construction. There's still a lot of new construction going on. How does that compare as far as insurance when it comes to rates, the new versus the older homes?
Yes. So there is, new construction throughout. And obviously the rating of, the way the insurance company looks at a new home versus an older home, obviously can, be a factor. Off the top of my head, it's called BCEG grade. It's a number based on the year built that the insurance company assigns automatically when you're quoting. Obviously, the newer the home, the better BSCGE grade it has, and the better pricing you're gonna get. However, most older homes have newer roofs. They're FPC equivalent. They have impact windows. So it's kind of a broad statement because you can have a brand new construction house. Yes, technically it should be cheaper to insure and better rates for that property because it's less risk, less older pipes, newer water heater, newer AC. So, but I would say 60 to 70% of homes in general have had a new roof, have had impact windows, have had new AC and water heater. As you know, those only last about 10 to 12 years. But yeah, so with the newer construction, obviously the better you're gonna have better pricing than resale. And it's of course contingent upon what comes back on that inspection. It's the roof. When was the roof replaced? 3-5 years ago, or is it an original roof from 2000 on its way out? Do you have accordion shutters? Do you have impact windows, and do you have panels? What do So it all depends, and it's contingent upon. Do you have a hip roof? One huge discount is the hip roof discount. You can have the roof can be flat, it could be gable, or it can be hip. And the best that you're gonna have, the best discount is gonna come from a hip roof. So it all depends how the house is constructed and what the features of that property is what's gonna determine the premium of the policy.
Okay, very interesting. Well, listen, Rocky, I thank you so much for bringing us this information, and there's so much to unpack. And my effort, my mission is to help real estate agents, team leaders, and even brokers that want to, find more ways of generating business. There's so many ways to generate business, especially so that we can have more closings, right? Because at the end of the day, that's how we all get paid, is by closings. And so that is the mission that we have, and having your valuable input and insight is greatly appreciated. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you. I hope you're going to join us live at one of our seminars. And
yes, I'm going to try my best.
Yes. All right, Rocky. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rocky.
Thank you guys for having me so much. It was always a pleasure. I love being here. I love, by the way, Lucy, I love the buyer consultation. If you don't mind, when you get a chance, send me that form. I think it's spectacular what you did there. So I thank you guys again. Thank you for having me. Email me the form, please. And you guys have a wonderful day.
We'll share.
Too.
Thank you so much, Rocky.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Oh,
thank you.
Great conversation, Talia. Yes, I mean, guys, this is our very first marathon of Agents in the Trenches, that space and place where we bring the real, the raw, the realities of what's happening in the market. And I really enjoyed hearing from, rocky, and little things, right? Little things that we may already know, that are big things that we may not know. But speaking of new construction, we have an incredible new construction home that we have sold in the past, that has made the American dream of homeownership, affordable homeownership, a reality. And we have a little commercial on this max model that we call. So take it away while we bring in our next guest.
Um,
Okay. And that is a max model, guys. The max model. Tell us a little bit about the max model. I know you and the team have been out there almost every day, sharing about holding open houses at the max model. Break it down for us from a salesperson's perspective. Tell us about the max model, which I love the max model.
Yeah, no, it's such a cute, I don't even know the best word to describe it, but it's a comfortable space, right? Like if you are maybe a first time home buyer, or, someone that is, starting like a family, right? This property is perfect because it's just so cozy. When you walk in, I mean, you have a beautiful, open concept. You have the kitchen, your living room area, and then you also have, the bedrooms on one side of the house as well, and it's a nice space, right? So you see stainless steel appliances, so you have good appliances there, countertops, granite countertops, and also the windows are all hurricane impact windows, which is really nice. Obviously, when we're living in Florida, that's important. Tiles throughout the entire home as well. And it's a very cozy space. I love it. I think it's a cute starter home.
Yes.
And that is exactly, even for an investor. I mean, I've had a few people reach out to me asking about this property because they were looking to invest.
And it has a lanai, and the lanai is under trust. One of the biggest things that we need to understand is that it costs approximately $10,000 to add a lanai.
Wow.
And the max model has the lanai, included, and you can literally make it part of the home in the future if you wanted to. If you wanted to make it part of the home and expand. So having the lanai, and what I love about the lanai, that it is under trust. I don't know if you guys know what under trust means, which means the roof is expanded all the way to include the lanai, because there's some lanais that when you add them on, you have to do a flat roof, right? In this home, the lanai is included. So I love the max model. It is the maximum for your price, and right now I know that the builder has slashed the price to $299,999, and of course they're looking to get their highest and best offers. So if you've got buyers that are looking for something that is very affordable, this is definitely the property. And what you said is true. I mean, it offers the best for your money. It really does.
Yeah, it does. And there's 2 locations, so we should mention that. There's 2 locations, one in the northwest, one in the northeast of Cape Coral. So depending on where you want to be, there's options available. And I think there's more coming to the market as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
There's more Max models coming to the market very soon. And so if you've got, buyers, or if you want to get into the dream of home ownership, definitely you want to learn about the Max model. So, all right. And we continue with our Agents in the Trenches. We're going into our second hour. Wow. 1 hour here going on our Agents in the Trenches marathon. So exciting.
No, this is really awesome. Well, we have our second guest here. I think he is ready to roll and to bring in more of the fire. So I want to go ahead and bring Joey to the stage. Hello, how are you?
Good morning, y'all. How you guys doing?
Hi, Joey. How you doing?
Doing very well. Thankfully, I think we're going to be good on the technical issues this week. So I am nice and stationary at home. Nothing to worry about. No hiding in a car or anything. So it's good.
I love it. Yeah, it's hard. We're coming out of 3 years of hardcore training with technology, right? And a lot of times we think that, even on Zooms, right? We listen to them in the car, we do them from anywhere. But this type of setting, the best is to do it like you are now, and you're going to be more comfortable as well. So tell us about you, Joey, what you do, who you are, who do you represent, and why you are so important to the real estate transaction.
Gotcha. So hello, everybody. I'm Joey Margolies. I work for American Home Shield. We are the nation's oldest and largest home warranty company. A little bit about me. I've been doing this almost 10 years now. Before that, I was in real estate, rentals, property management, buy, sell, and so forth. So been in the industry a long time. I am pretty passionate, I think, about one of my favorite things, I guess, about working for American Home Shield is being able to help people, right? I think that's one of the biggest things, one of the misconceptions about home warranty companies in general is we actually do a lot to help people, whether it's the real estate agent getting the deal done, getting that buyer to the finish line because, hey, they're going to be able to afford this property because they have that protection with the home warranty. That's kind of one of my, I guess, my favorite part. That's what, I bring to the crazy market that we're in right now.
Wow, that's great. I love that. And, it's really, it's important for everyone to understand, and we want to make you part of our rent to own, SOS project, start owning system. When you hear about rent to own, right, I want to ask your perspective because there's no right or wrong answer. When you hear about rent to own, or have you heard about rent to own programs where you literally are giving the person the opportunity to rent while they get all their ducks in a row and doing it with an organic 3.5% down and, the real first time home buyer programs. What do you think about that? How do you think that that's going to be impactful in the marketplace?
Well, I think a couple of things, right? So it's, kind of funny. We talk about technology transforming, but the rent to own programs have really, back in the day, it was always, you'd see those like handwritten signs in the street, like rent to own. And you're like, that's not going to be, it just didn't look legit. And it's great that you guys are coming out, with these programs to actually add like that, professional legitimacy to it. And I think it's a great program because a couple different things. One, people, I don't think realize that they can buy, right? I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions is, whether it's I need 20% down or I don't want to pay for, the AC if it breaks, whatever these misconceptions are, I think that's the biggest hurdle. And once you get into that rent to own program, it really, it opens your eyes, it educates you. And not only that, but it provides a path to you. I think it's great. I think there's a lot of, take me, for example, I'm a single father. The home that I actually ended up purchasing was a very similar type program to that. And it meant the world to me. It was the difference between me, having to move to another city because I couldn't afford rent anymore and, ending up providing consistency and a stable home for my son. I think that's the biggest.
How long ago was that? Tell us a little bit more about that. I love to hear your personal testimony about that.
Yeah, no, so it was, I started renting the home I live in now about 5 years ago. And it was something where it was a little different than y'all's because it was done directly through the owner. I was fortunate in that regards, but I mean, it really it changed my life because here I am, I'm renting, right? And this was, almost 5 years ago. So rent for my home at that time was like $1,400, $1,500, which was expensive, the higher end for me at the time. And I just never realized that, not only was I'm paying her mortgage, but my mortgage actually ended up being basically the same exact price. And so what happened, and this is why I think it's important that people know to have these opportunities available to them, is because I'm having this conversation with my parents right now. Is, I'm lucky because I bought when I bought, and my payment has stayed the same. You know what I mean? So it's not like with rent where my parents' rent has gone when they moved down here like 2 some odd years ago. It went from $2,000 to $2,400, in 1 year. I mean, that's huge, and you don't necessarily have that issue when you own your home. I mean, there's other expenses, don't get me wrong, but to be able to provide that stability is huge. And I never even thought about it and knew about it until I started talking to, the person I bought from about it. I mean, it was a big difference, so.
I love it. And I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Talk to me a little bit about how did your mindset, because I think this is really important that we understand. We have to be committed to wanting to buy and become a homeowner. But I know there's something that happens when you walk in through that door as an owner versus a renter. Tell us a little bit about your story with how did that change? Because there is something that shifts. I know it from firsthand experience. I know it from speaking with people, but I want you to share with us a little bit about that change when you walked in through those doors, right after you closed, and then you started waking up there and you remembered, oh my God, I own this. How was that for you?
So I've bought 2 homes in my lifetime, right? One about 14 years ago, and then this one that I live in now. And both times, there's a beauty in owning something that it's yours. Like if you think about like a child for a second, right? Like my son, he's just turned 14 and I'm trying to teach him about responsibility. It's like, money doesn't grow on trees, blah, 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 like the whole, dad thing. And it's funny because when he spends his money on something to buy, it's crazy how much better he takes care of it because it's his money. You know what I mean? And the kind of the same concept applies to the home ownership. Like this is my home, it's mine. I own it. And it's much more than being able to tell somebody to get off your property. That's why I started laughing because, that was one of my, I have a wild neighbor, but it ended up being one of the first things. I'm like, man, this feels great to own my home because it's my property. I can tell somebody to get off my property. But I mean, it really just changes your whole mindset. It's not only it's not even just having to step up your game, but it's just a different experience. And, it takes pride. It's mine, it's my decision. I have ownership of it, not just physically, but mentally as well. I think that's a big part of it.
And that's so important for everyone to understand because there is something called pride of home ownership. I remember Joe, my mentor Joe for 20 years.
Love Joe.
Yes, Joe is a legend, even though he's probably in heaven preparing, I don't know, another real estate company for us to run one day. I don't know.
He's critiquing my son's left-handed pitch. I know it because that was the first thing. When my son met Joe, it was one of the first. Y'all are one of the first offices that I went to when I first started, right? And Joe was quite a character. And he actually met my son one day. My son always remembered him just because Joe had that New York accent, loud, but he was such a great, caring person. But not to get off track, but yes.
No, I know, but it's crazy. I can't talk about real estate, my life in real estate without Joe coming up some way, somehow, because I'm grateful. I'm grateful for having been his student for 20 years. I'm grateful for everything he taught. And that's where you and I met. I
got to tell you a funny Joe story though. So, I recently started working the other coast of Florida, like the southeast part of Florida. And it's funny, I met a manager for a Century 21 over there because Joe had the Century 21, right? And it's like He's asking me where I live. He's like, "Did you know Joe?" And it's like everybody knows Joe. He was a great guy to know. But
He was.
I just thought that was crazy because even all these years, it's it's the first thing this manager asked me. Hey, did you know Joe? It's just like, yes, of course I know Joe. Who doesn't?
I know. And Joe was the first Century 21 franchise owner in Cape Coral.
Yeah.
So he was with the brand for many, many years. And it's crazy because we would have these conversations. He would say, "One day when I'm gone, Lucy, one day when I'm gone." And I always told him, I said, "Well, you're always going to be around for me because
Right.
he taught me everything that I know." But
Sure.
speaking of everything that I know, tell us why it's so important for a buyer to purchase a home warranty, and how much is it? How much
Sure.
is it in today's day and age? How much is it with the water heater, without the water heater, with the roof, without the? Because people don't know a lot about home warranties, and I think it's something that's really important because I remember, especially for a first-time home buyer, you buy your home, you're moving in. The last thing you want to hear is the water heater broke, or the air conditioner broke, or the refrigerator broke. So break it down for us in layman's terms, like in third grade level.
Sure.
Why is it important and how much is it?
So there's a couple things I think on why it's important, right? So I've never met anybody that didn't want to save money, right? Like not like be cheap, but if you can save money and not have to spend money, I mean, everybody wants to do that, right? If you can get something and not have to pay as much for it. So one of the benefits to having a home warranty is you're always going to have options, right? You'll have an option, either recover it, you take a cash out, whatever the case may be. Without a home warranty, you're going to pay retail every single time something breaks, no matter what, right? The reality is a home inspection is like a one-day view. They come in, they do their thing, but it's only for one day. It's not like a full overview. It can't see into the future. And, we help protect for the unknown that could break. Now, from a first-time home buyer perspective, I can speak from experience on this because I was in the exact same boat. One of the reasons, I thought about buying, wasn't really sure if it was something I could do or wanted to do. And, thankfully I got onto that rent to own program. But the biggest thing for me was, and my parents are in the same situation, is they don't want to pay for an AC. They don't want to pay for the water heater. And when you're a first-time home buyer, this is like your biggest purchase of your life, basically, right? I brought all of my money that I had to close in. And when something breaks, I had the warranty there to cover me. So it's I don't have to be worried about having to pay $5,000 for a new AC or $2,000 for a water heater. I have the warranty for that. And I mean, literally 3 days after I closed, my dryer broke. And the warranty.
It never fails. It never fails. You close and then it breaks. They're like, it couldn't break when I had not closed yet.
Right. Couldn't break for the seller. It's got to be me. Right. And, so I think that's probably the biggest thing for first-time home buyers is to know that there's options for them so they don't have to always talk about the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, right?
Right.
Just do it all at once. So, that kind of helps take something off their plate, less things for them to worry about, and as far as cost goes, we're not going to be the cheapest warranty out there. I will tell you that right up front because, just in general with home warranties, there's only so many ways to slice it up, right? We are a for-profit company. We do like to make a profit, right? So there's the balance between making sure that we provide enough coverage to approve claims, and we approve 95% of the claims that come through, right? Versus also making sure that we're able to pay for that stuff when it does come up. So as far as pricing goes, we have flexible options. So we have 3 different plans, and the price depends on the plan, and it depends on the style of the home. Single family has one price, condos, townhomes have another. So single family goes anywhere from $450 up to $810, and that's for 1 full year. And they can pay for it all at closing. It can be split into a monthly payment, whatever is comfortable for them. As far as saving money, I'll use my home as the example, right? So I've used my warranty quite a few times already. So I had the dryer, that saved me at least a couple $100 to have the guy come in. It was just a heating element. Where I've saved a ton of money though is I have an older AC, right? Past its useful life, but works perfectly. My had one compressor go bad outside, right? And so American Home Shield covered that, and I just paid the service fee. And I mean, that saved me, you know, geez, probably $1,000. I mean, if not 500, let's lowball 500, okay? So I've already paid for my warranty off those 2 service calls in of itself. I had a new kitchen sink installed because sediment built up in my kitchen sink, because we have very, like, our water's not dirty, but it just has stuff that builds up in it. Had the big money though was last May, my AC went out over Memorial Day weekend, and I needed a new coil. And I mean, if a regular homeowner without a home warranty in that situation, the AC guy tells you that you need a new coil, he's also going to follow that up with the saying that it's not worth repairing, right? Because who knows what else is going to go wrong, and he's going to try and sell you an $8,000 system.
Right.
So for me, I was fine with the repair because, hey, I paid my $100. It cost American Home Shield $1,500, but it cost me $100, and my AC's been blowing fine ever since then. From a retail perspective, you're looking at, instead of me paying $100, I could be looking at $5,000, $8,000. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So, I mean, the money like that we save homeowners it's huge. And I think a lot of people don't, it's one of those things, unfortunately, where, they have home warranty companies sometimes have a bad reputation. And it's not necessarily fair because, I've been doing this 10 years and I wholeheartedly believe in our product. I used to sell timeshare. I hated it. I was awful at it. I lasted like 4 months, right? And I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm passionate about it. I mean, it really works.
So let me ask you a question. I have a couple questions before our time runs out. Are home warranties only for homes, or can you put it on a commercial property?
Great question. We can't do commercial, but we do work with property management companies and tenants and stuff like that.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. Yep. So for my property owners, right? Because I have a property management company as well, and one of our rentals, which is ready to be rented, the AC broke, right? So this is something that property owners, right, or property management companies can share with their property owners.
Yep, correct. And the one thing I will preface that, and this is, something I like to tell everybody is, the way that American Home Shield or any home warranty company is set up is we are a save you money service. We will save you a ton of money. We are not necessarily set up for same day service, like white glove service. We may have to order a part, like it could take, it might not be resolved on that first visit. So, a couple of things that I always let them know is that up front, right? And as long as you lean on me, I can always help with appointments. But you always have an option. In that situation, we either could have fixed the AC, or worst case scenario, we could have given the owner like our cash value for what we would have paid for that repair, and he could have hired someone else, right? And have it done faster if they wanted it faster. But that, it's a great, investors, property owners are all about the bottom line, right? All about the return, the ROI. And it's a great way to kind of help control costs to a degree, because you'll know certain things will be covered and so forth like that. And I'll sell a warranty to anybody. I love homeowners of any kind. This is what I do. It's happy myself. So they're all welcome to call.
Can this be offered to new home builders?
Yeah. So the one thing I will tell you about that though is we don't cover anything structural, right? So it's going to be strictly mechanical. So that's kind of like, we have a new construction warranty. It's just kind of set up to complement the 1-year builder warranty. It's not necessarily set up for the structure part of it.
And obviously the home warranty can be negotiated with the seller, right?
Of course. Yeah. So, I mean, a smart agent, I think when you're working with buyers, it's great to ask the seller to pay for the warranty. The majority of y'all use the FAR bar as is contract. It's an as is contract. They put the warranty section in the contract for a specific reason. And it's just a great opportunity. Even use it as like a differentiator, like, hey, list with me, buy with me, I'll include the warranty for you. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to position it.
So you said that the base price is $450 and the max, I'm assuming the max covers everything, is about $850?
So it's 8:10, and I'll tell you one little secret, right? I'm glad you said the word everything. So one thing I will tell you, when it comes to warranties, I'm the expert. Like, I know nothing about selling a home. I would call you guys, right? When it comes to warranties, one, always lean on me. Like when there's a coverage question, and whatever you do, please don't use the word everything. And I tell you that for a reason, because everything literally means everything. And
Right.
I've had agents get in trouble, right, where they've told the client it covers everything. It's something totally random, like a lawn sprinkler or a pool light that's not covered. And then the agent gets the phone call, hey, you said this covers everything, but it will cover all the systems and appliances inside the home. So like all the big stuff, the AC, water heater, the appliances, all the stuff that will break eventually and keeps us up at night is going to be covered under that.
Excellent. Well, I love it. And also when agents are listing a home.
Yes.
Right.
Especially condos right now.
Why condos right now?
So a couple of things with condos is, the HOA fees are going up exponentially. This is forcing a lot of owners to sell, because we have a lot of retired folks. They live on a fixed income. So what's happened with that dynamic is the condo inventory has gone from a couple months worth of inventory to we're like in double digits now. And this is not just Southwest Florida. This is something that's an issue on the East Coast, north of us. I mean, it's everywhere. And the problem with condos, I love my little villa, but they all look the same, right? So if you're competing against 10 other condos in the same complex, what are you doing to differentiate? It's all 4 walls and tile, right? We all have the same grass view. I mean, I had an agent that got the deal over the other 10 condos because his had the warranty and the others didn't. It was the what pushed the buyer to that home. So when you're stuck in that sea of sameness, like everything's the same, use the warranty, differentiate it. Will get the deal closed.
I love it. Joey, I hope you're going to join us at one of our upcoming rent-to-own seminars or workshops. We're looking to really make an impact in the community, and you're one of those expert advisors that we're going to need to chime in and
I will do my best to be there for sure. Y'all just keep me posted on the dates and we'll make it happen.
Thank you, Joey. I won't keep you any longer. I appreciate your time greatly, and I hope you have an amazing weekend.
Thanks for having me, both of you guys. I hope you all have a great day, okay?
All right, Joey.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.
Wow, really interesting. I mean, home warranty, it's a conversation that I hadn't had in a long time, right? But it's good to know that it does make the difference. It does make the difference. So
Yeah, definitely. I learned a lot, and I hope our audience did as well. About new construction. I didn't even think that home warranties can do new construction. So that was pretty cool to learn about. So that was, I like that.
Well, we're down to our last 30 minutes, and we're going to take a little commercial break, and we'll be right back with Agents in the Trenches Marathon.
Yes.
Have you asked yourself about the power of expansion?
Hold on.
Have you asked yourself what are the possibilities that you could take your business not just locally, but nationally and internationally? Well, that is the future of real estate. Hey guys, Lucy Quinones, international real estate and business coach, broker since 2005, and your friend. And I wanted to come by and share with you the vision of expansion. What does that mean? In real estate, there's really no frontiers that we cannot transcend. Real estate is not only done in the US, it's done in the US and Canada, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean, South America. All over the planet, there's real estate transactions being done. Now, the truth is that you have to capture that vision, and this is your moment. When we look at the stats for the National Association of Realtors and the amount of billions of dollars that are being invested in Florida alone by foreigners, it is impressive what an opportunity we all have. But I want to invite you to really take a look at this opportunity of expansion and maybe taking your business, your product, your new construction homes, your model homes, your developments into other frontiers. And if you're interested in talking more about that, I invite you to have a conversation with me, no holds bar, and I'll open up my playbook and show you how I have expanded from my local market to my national market and now my international market. I look forward to chatting with you and taking this expansion vision to another level.
Yes. Speaking of expansion, right? For those
Yes.
of you watching live, give us a hashtag live. Share this with someone. This is our very first Agents in the Trenches marathon. We've had experts come on and we're breaking it down because we are preparing for a very exciting marathon. I want to do a marathon too, Talia, of the real, raw, organic, authentic rent-to-own program, which is going to make the American home dream of home ownership a reality for so many people. So, what do you think?
I love it. And I think that it's super innovative, and it sure like is a option. Like it's an option for people to take advantage of, right? And there's a lot of people that, like I mentioned earlier, that does not know that this exists, that this is a thing.
Right.
Maybe they heard of it maybe a long time ago, but they weren't really like looking for it, so they forgot about it. And now it's like, oh wow, like it's that easy, right? And you mentioned something earlier today too, where they kind of overcomplicate it in their heads because they don't know, right? So that's why they need people like us, professionals, to be able to break it down to them and say, hey, it's not that complicated. Sit down with us and let us go over where you're at, how much home buying power you have at the moment, and let's help you get to where you want to go, right? And really give you the path to home ownership. And that's what I believe the rent to own program, it's all about, right? It's like, let's create a path together. Let's see where you're at, where you want to go, and let us help you get there.
And so to kind of circle back on that a little bit, one of the things that I want to send a shout out to all the agents out there that have new construction homes listed for sale. Guys, it is no secret. The market is slow. I mean, it is slow, right? But there's a lot of new home builders out there, and this is important. I want to get this message out that if there's builders out there that are not in a rush to sell, they can kind of sit on the sideline and wait for something to happen. My rent to own program could be a perfect fit because you can actually start cash flowing your property, and you can start cash flowing your property, and you can literally, put a person in the property and make that person your end buyer. So, Talia, one of the things is this type of market requires, strategic ideas. This type of market is a type of market where you have to be strategic. And if you're an agent out there that doesn't know how to strategize and create opportunities, make things happen, right? Because it is not a traditional day in real estate. Buyers are not going to come knocking on your door, hunting you down. We're not even listen, our market is not even really producing multiple offer situations. And I know because we've, offered properties on multiple offer situations and, highest and best. And the market is just, it's slow. It's a sign of the times. We're heading into an election year. We've got to know how to measure the temperature of the market. So, shout out to all the agents out there that have properties listed with home builders, and maybe their home builder is not in a rush to sell. We want to talk to you because we want to make your property, your listing, part of our rent to own program, because that's really how it all comes together. And that's why I love the rent to own program, because in any market it could be the lifesaver. So you want to dive a little bit deeper, ask any questions. If you guys are watching and you have questions on the rent to own program, ask me. I'm an open book. And so
yeah, I have a question because, and this was something that an agent asked me not too long ago about the rent to own, right? And they had the idea that the actual tenant that is going to be, renting the property can walk out at any time. So they were scared. They were like, oh, I don't know how to present this because, other rent-to-own programs have that option, right? Where the tenant, if by the end of year one they don't want to live in that property anymore, they can just walk out, and now that what happens now, right? So can you break that down and tell us how your rent to own program is different from that?
So let me back up a little bit so that I can explain it. And there have been other lease option programs or rent with the option to buy programs, or they've also called them a rent with the possibility of owning program. And those are all very different. My program is not like those, because the lease option is, okay, I'm going to lease this property, and if I ever want to buy it, I'm going to have to put down, a whole bunch of money, 20, 30, $40,000 down, so that I can exercise the option to purchase. But what happens is there's no pre-established purchase price, right? So the person is really just renting, but they have an open option to buy the home if and when they'd like. And if they want to exercise that option, they're going to have to put down a lot of money. They're going to have to put down $20, $30, $40,000 down. So this is not that. Then there was this incredible program, which was called, I can't remember the name right now, but it'll come to me. It was renting with the possibility of buying. Home Partners. Home Partners came around in 2012, I think, 12, 13. Home Partners was a rent with the possibility of owning. But what happened was that people would move in, right? So after the market crash, we had these huge hedge funds or crowd funds or corporations coming in and purchasing a whole bunch of property. And people would move in, they would rent, they could rent up to 4 years. They would increase their rental rate about 3 to 5% per year. They had an established purchase price, but the purchase price would also increase every year. Okay, so the person was renting and the person was paying their rent, and they had an opportunity to buy that home that they were renting, but they did not have an established purchase price. The rent would go up every year and the purchase price would go up every year. And they had 4 years to be able to close on that property if they wanted. So that's the one where if they didn't want it, they would leave, and Home Partners would re-rent the property to somebody else. The real rent-to-own program is a program where I'm going to share it here. We are actually able to rent to own the property they're going to move into, and they have 6 months to do it, because the idea is that we are going to diagnose the buyer. I always say diagnose the buyer. When I taught my agents back in 2020 about the rent-to-own program, I said, guys, don't ask me any questions about what can we do or what we can't do until we diagnose the buyer. It's like going to the doctor. You can't go to the doctor and say, you know what, I have a headache. What do you think it is? Well, you got a headache, but that doesn't tell me the diagnosis. Is it you've got high blood pressure? Is it you've got high cholesterol? Is it you've got insomnia? Do you have anxiety? I mean, where is this symptom coming from? So the first step is to diagnose the buyer. Because what's going to happen is that once these people are diagnosed, right? And this is kind of like the training part of the rent-to-own program. This is not actually what we do or what we're going to do with the buyers, but I'm kind of breaking it down for those agents that are out there and think that, hey, you know what, I want to be part of this, or I want to join Q International with Lucy and Thalia, and I want to learn how to do this, and I want to scale my business, and I want to be able to framework this so that I can be closing more deals. Because guys, there is no shortage of renters. There's no shortage of renters. And more renters out there are scared. Like, they're scared to even look into it. Why? Because they don't want to be turned down, right? So what I do is I shatter the glass ceiling. I shatter the glass ceiling. That is what I do. I come in like a ninja and I shatter the glass ceiling of, oh, let me see if you are qualified to buy a home. No, I don't care if you qualify or don't qualify. I need to diagnose you. once we diagnose you, then we're going to know if we need creative financing. Okay, this is why this works, because your average agent, your average team leader, and even many brokers. I mean, have you heard of other brokers talking about this type of program?
No.
Because this is something that is, curated in a very strategic way. So once I diagnose, I'm going to play doctor. Once I diagnose the person, right? And the only thing my agents need to do is bring the people. I think we even gave our agents like a challenge, go find 100 people and just bring them in. I don't care if they qualify. And that's probably the worst thing we do with people is say, well, are you pre-approved? Are you pre-qualified? No, come in. Let's see what possibilities exist. I invite you to come and explore the possibilities of making the American dream of home ownership a reality. It doesn't matter whether you qualify or not. We've got to shatter that glass ceiling. So once we diagnose a person, maybe we realize we're going to need some creative financing. And then that's where I bring in one of my expert advisors on financing. Let's see what we can create, because obviously we need the financing. Maybe we're going to need some private money. Is private money a possibility? And that's when I open up my arsenal of contacts and expert advisors and all kinds of things and see if that's a possibility. Credit repair or credit restoration. This is where I have to bring in, one of my ninjas in the credit restoration process and say, okay, listen, this is what exists and this is what we've got to do. And we have an actual game plan. And I tell you one thing, Talia, we don't send our people anywhere. We bring the advisors to our people, because that's another thing that agents tend to do, which I find is self-sabotaging. They send it, go talk to my lender, go talk to my person, that is so Walmart. I always use Walmart as an example. So let me break it down for you. And I wanna stop this because I really want to take a moment to break this down, because if you're an agent and you're not closing at high levels, it's not that the business is not out there. It's that there's something you don't know that you need to know in order to scale. So imagine for a moment, you walk into Walmart and you ask, where's the sugar? 9 times out of 10 at Walmart, they're going to tell you, oh, the sugar is around the corner next to the pallet of diapers on aisle 5, under the rice. And the Walmart person doesn't move from where they're at. But you walk into Publix, or you walk into Sweet Bay, or you walk into, I don't know, one of those upper scale supermarkets, and you say, can you tell me where's the sugar? 9 times out of 10, that person is going to drop what they're doing and they're going to say, yes, come with me. Let me take you to where the sugar is at. And that's the type of service that we want to be able to, that's the type of service that we want to be able to give people, right? Really? Okay, I'll check that out. So 9 times out of 10, that's the type of service that we receive at an upscale supermarket, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Drops what they're doing and walks you there. Well, who do you think we want to be? Do we want to be the Walmart,
kind of agent?
Or do we want to be the upper scale, Sweet Bay, top notch? So when I train my agents on the rental program, I'm like, you're not sending anybody to no one. We're bringing those people to them because we want to give white glove service. We want to be excellent. We want to be excellent at what we do.
And I just want to say something about that because, these renters, because I'm talking to them as well. And I've had moments where, they would call me for a specific property or whatever that we have rented. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I got somebody on the phone, because they have called other, whatever companies that have rentals, or they have called other agents to help them, go show properties, and they're not getting answered. Like their phone is just ringing. They get a voicemail, they're leaving messages, they're not getting contacted. So they already are getting like poor service from
Yes.
the real estate industry, right? Because they're renting, and unfortunately, if you're coming in with this opportunity for them to buy, you want to show them that you're not like the rest. Like, you want to walk them through the process. So I think that's really important, and I'm happy that you're touching on that, because they're already coming in and they're getting a bad taste in their mouth because they're reaching out to people and they're not getting contacted. Maybe, now that there's services that they don't even need an agent to go see a property. They call like a phone number, and then they get a lockbox code and they can go right in. You want to set yourself apart. So I think that for white glove service, we should be providing that to everybody. It doesn't matter if they're a renter, a buyer, a seller. Everyone should be getting great service from us. So I'm really happy that you said that.
And you know what? As you were sharing that, which is very true, listen, the truth of the matter is everybody wants to make easy money, right? Everybody wants, to be at the top. Everybody wants to, but when you are in real estate and you're looking to get to the top, right? You've got to start at the bottom, and there's more opportunities at the bottom than there are at the top. Let's face it. So you need to know who you are, and you need to understand where you want to go. So if I were speaking to an agent right now who's stuck at home doing nothing and waiting for business to find them, wakey, business is not going to find you. Ain't nobody going to come to save you. You need to get up and go hunting. You need to activate your prey drive, and you need to go make things happen. But the truth of the matter is there's more opportunities at the bottom than there are at the top. And why do I say that? Because as you're talking about people that are renters, nobody wants to give a renter the time of day, but that's because they don't know how to create that into an opportunity. And that's where I come in and I disrupt, because I'm like, what do you mean? Bring all the renters, bring them. Let's show them the possibilities, because you know what? For every renter, there are 6 people those renters know that they will tell about what we're doing.
Wow.
That's going to happen, Lucy, because it happened to us in 2020 and 2021 when we were doing this. The people that we had put into homes were telling their friends, their coworkers, and we had other people calling us and saying, oh my God, so-and-so told me about your rental home program. When can I come to your workshop? I want to hear about it. So, there's no lack of money-making opportunities. What there is lack of knowledge, and you don't know what you don't know. And this is why you don't need to be sitting at the bottom of the barrel, closing no deals, going out there and selling your time for, a paycheck, when you are presented with this opportunity. Now, if you don't want to raise your hand and take the opportunity, listen, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. And I can't make anybody buy, and I can't make anybody work, and I can't make anybody do anything. But what I can do is show you, like today, when you said we're going to be talking about this, and I'm like, hold on, I know I have something, right? Because I know I've been doing this. And again, it's bringing this opportunity. So when I was able to diagnose someone, and now we knew what was between them and the closing table, because that's what I look for. What's between our now and getting to the closing table? And whatever the challenge is, that's what we bring, and that's what I bring my expert advisors in to do. I've had people that could not close on a property because their taxes needed to be restored. What does that mean? Well, there's a lot of people that work for themselves, and we all know people that tend to work for themselves don't always report what they make. So they needed time to restructure their taxes. And so we got them into a home, they restructured their taxes, and they were able to close. So it's all about what needs to happen. We provide the first-time home buyer training, to the person, because obviously we're going to tell them everything about the program. But I also provide the first-time home buyer training to my agents, because I want my agents to be the ones out there looking for the people and talking to the people. We talk about building business credit. So I've got an expert, because a lot of people don't know. I didn't know that you could build your business credit and use your business credit to buy a home, right? Um, First time investor coaching. There's people out there that already own a home, but they want to invest in another home. So how do we strategize that? And all of this comes from a simple, rent to own program, because there's a lot of hardworking people out there that want to be able to, get their kids into a home, so how do they cash flow the property they're in and then move into investing and doing all that. So there's a lot of interesting things that we can do, and it all starts with the rent to own program, SOS program, like I call it, start owning systems. And this works. It actually really, really works. And it's never failed me once. And I think that this is the season to bring this back. And that's why my challenge to everyone is get in the trenches. Let's start. It's game time. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? It's game time. Let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I was showing a property yesterday, one of our rental properties, to a potential tenant, and I started talking a little bit about this because they it's funny. And this was the same person, one of the people that they say, oh, wow, I'm happy that I got you on the phone because I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody, right? So she already had like a good experience with me because I picked up the phone, right? So when I showed her the property yesterday, I was talking a little bit about, I was asking her questions, and she was telling me a little bit about herself, her situation. And, she already was telling me, she's like, I want to buy a home. Like, I really do. I mean, she has 5 kids, and they're tired of renting, but, with everything that they're hearing in the news, I mean, of course, it's scaring them off. They're like, oh my gosh, the interest rates. And then I'm like, you're paying 100% interest rate right now with renting, right? And she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Like, that's true. And so I started talking to her a little bit about, the rent to own program, and she was interested, and she was like, I mean, I've heard of it before, but I've never really looked into it because I always thought it was like one of those like scams that they just want to take all your money and, you never actually own the property. So, it was really cool to just be able to come in with this information and say, well, we have something different. And we have something that can really help you out. So, these conversations, they have to start somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And you are not going to be able to have these conversations if you're not out there, talking to the people, right? You always say, find the people, talk to the people, so just go out there. So.
And, that's why back in 2021, I added the SOS, right? Because we all know what SOS means. SOS means help me.
Yes.
Right. And I said, okay, SOS, and I said, start owning systems, right? Because that's what we actually do, is put together a system that you're going to follow. And the person has to be committed. The person has to be committed to wanting to stop renting. And exactly what you did, you instilled in this renter a thought that she's never going to get out of her mind. You did a Lucy on her, right? You told her something, you asked her something, you gave her information that opened up a new level of consciousness for her. Like, I am paying 100% interest and I'm a nobody and I don't have anything to call my own. So the person has to want to stop renting and start owning. And the person has to commit to the process, because we're only going to work with people that need a maximum of 6 months. So if you're a realtor and you're like, oh my God, it's going to take me 6 months to get paid. Well, you know what? If you haven't had any closings, you've been 6 months almost without getting paid. So why not stack up your closings and have 12 closings in 1 month, 6 months from now, and you would have closed 12 transactions that most agents have not closed in the last 10 years per year, right? So we look at the stats, agents just need someone to guide and direct them and give them a new way of thinking. Because if you're going to tell me you can't wait 6 months to stack 12 closings and close out the year with 12 transactions that you have not closed, let's be honest, the average agent is not closing any more than 3 to 4 transactions a year. But all of a sudden, now you have an opportunity, you have a resource that you can leverage. You have someone that's willing to bring you on and teach you about this and have you go out there and do the work, because you're going to have to do the work. I'm not going to do the work. I've done it. I've done my part. My part is to help other people, take an opportunity and turn it into money. But you can literally close out the year with, why 12? It could be 20 people. Look at the amount of renters that are out there. Look at the amount of people that are wanting to stop renting and start owning. And so we only work with people that need 6 months. And trust me, there's a lot that can happen in 6 months. We had people that only needed, 4 months. And everything is done. And you know what the beauty of this is? You're going to buy the home at a pre-established purchase price. So they're going to know from day one, before they even move into the property, how much they're going to be paying for the home. This is not a, bait and switch kind of thing. This is not, give me all your money and then I'm going to leave you high and dry. They're going to know how much they're paying for the home, number one. And number two, you know how much money they need to put down?
Yes.
Tell us.
3.5%.
That's it. And it's the same thing that they would put down with any other home on the market, except we're going to get them closing ready. Our job is going to be that, white glove service that's going to walk the walk with them and get them to the closing table.
That's awesome. So I want to ask one more question. Kind of going back and talking to the realtors, right? The realtors with maybe properties that, they're not selling, or maybe the owner, doesn't have a real rush to sell it or whatever, and it might be a good fit for the rent to own program. So if there was an agent, say I have a perfect listing for it. So tell me how I should present this opportunity to the owner. That way, somebody can kind of come in and be able to write a little script or whatnot to be able to present it.
That's a great question. So let's say that you are an agent. Let's make a real case scenario, right? Let's break it down for those that are going to be watching on replay or the ones that are here live. So you're a listing agent and you work with XYZ Realty, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you've got a home that's listed, but it's not moving, and your seller is not in a rush to sell. But obviously, every day they're losing money, right?
Yeah.
So let me give you the best answer. The best answer is you connect with me, because this is a strategy. This is a strategic move that has to be made, right? So what I would tell the person, what I would tell you as that listing agent is, hey, listen, let's sit down. Let's tell me more about the listing. Tell me more about the property, and let's put an intent together. Let's see who this would be a good fit for, right? So let's say that it's a property, I don't know, give me a price point. This property is listed for how much? And
let's just say for 405.
405. So what we're going to do is we're going to sign a joint venture agreement, because I won't work with anyone. I won't give my information to anyone that's not committed to working with us. So the first thing we're going to do is, okay, so this property is listed for 425. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever. Okay, let's sign a joint venture agreement, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to present this opportunity to co-market this property to your seller with you there, right? Because I'm not going to let anybody go talk about my program who's never done my program, because they're not going to know how to sell it. So
Right.
what we're going to do is we're going to start marketing. Once I present the strategic opportunity to the seller and I break down how it's going to work, we're both going to start marketing this property as a rent-to-own SOS project listing. So now we actually are reverse engineering the process. Normally we would go find the people, talk to the people, and then go find the property. Now we're going to bring the property and we're going to say, hey, we've got a real rent-to-own opportunity here, because now we already know that the seller, A, is willing, B, they're ready, C, they're open to doing it. We know what they want for the property. Now we just have to reverse engineer it and present it to the end buyers.
I love it. So that's how you can get started. It's that simple. Just reach out to Lucy so you can really get the details on that. But this is such an incredible, so I love it. I mean, we're talking in different perspectives, right? How, as an agent, how you can, take advantage of this opportunity to make more money and to either, find potential buyers for closings later on, or your listings, right? To move them and actually sell them. And then also to, potential people, renters, right, that
Right.
are in the market. They don't know what they don't know, and hey, we're just coming in and letting you know that this option is available. So there's just so many different
You got
opportunities
nothing to
here.
lose. You got
Yeah.
nothing to lose. The problem is no one is the expert messenger. No one is coming out with the authority and the experience needed to make, to create deals. And that's why I said to you, we got to get this done. My biggest problem is I don't have enough hours in the day to get everything I have to get done. So that's where I'm like, we need hands on deck. We need hands on deck so that we can train up, the people, send them out, and let's get this going, because it works. It really works.
So if you're watching this and you want to know more about it, you want to be involved in this opportunity, maybe you are already working with renters and the majority of your business is renters. I mean, hey, this is an opportunity to make that small commission a bigger commission and get a full
Yeah.
paycheck. So reach out to either myself or Lucy, so we can get you started, give you more information. It's real simple to, get a hold of us, reach out to us, because we will pick up. We will
Yes,
pick up, we
yes,
will
we will.
answer.
It's
Immediacy, right, Lucy?
Yes, immediacy, immediacy. I was in Colombia, in Medellin, and we were doing an event with agents, and we were talking about in Spanish, it's called Propuesta Única de Valor, right? So it's called your, unique value proposition. And I said, don't tell me that your unique value proposition is I'm going to answer the phone. Don't tell me that your unique value proposition is I'm going to give you good service. I was like, don't tell me that you are telling your customers, my unique value proposition is I'm going to, do a property showcase. Please, that is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I say that to say this, it is such a shame that there's so many agents out there acting like Walmart workers, performing at such a low level. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. We all have gone into Walmart. They don't even want to talk to you. You ask them for something, and 9 times out of 10, I'm not saying every Walmart worker, but 9 times out of 10, my experience is it's over there. What do you mean it's over there? You're on the clock. Put that down. Show me some love. I'm contributing to your paycheck. Like, earn it. And I have to say the same thing for real estate agents. It's like, man, earn your money. Act like a professional. Go pro. Be excellent. Oh man, I'm telling you, I hate mediocrity. Mediocrity and need are like water and oil. Why do we have to be mediocre when we can go a little extra and become extraordinary? So I'm looking for real estate agents that want to be extraordinary. I'm looking for real estate agents and team leaders and brokers that want to sit down and have open-minded conversations about, you know what, Lucy, I'm hemorrhaging, I'm in pain. Times are tough. How can we collaborate? How can we contribute? Because I'm looking for people. I want to talk to the people. I mean, I've got the arsenal, I've got the resources, I've got the know-how, I've got the how-to. Put me to work. Put me to work. If you want to make money, put me to work. If you don't want to make money, I can't help you. And Dali, we have concluded our first Agents in the Trenches marathon. And you want to know what I realized? We've put in more hours of work in these 2 hours with everything we've shared and all the value that we've brought than most people did in the whole week. And it just, it made me realize we need to do more of this, because this is what we do. We look for the people, we talk to the people. The days of us having all this great knowledge and information, like this incredible, project that we're talking about, Start Owning Systems by Q International Experts Network. this cannot be the best kept secret anymore. Like, I'm tired of having everything I've ever done be the best kept secret. So thank you so much for saying yes to this. And we've been on this marathon for 2 hours, and I could go on for 2 more hours because I think there's so many experts out there that need to join forces with us. So if you are a frontline leader, if you're open-minded about collaboration, contribution, if you're an insurance, mortgage, title, home warranty, survey, appraiser, moving company, satellite company, fence company, packing company, painting company, building company, reach out to us, because that's my job. I want to connect with you guys. I want to build community together. I want to leverage what I have with you, but we both got to have some skin in the game because it has to be a win-win. If only you wins, it don't work for me. If only I win, it don't work for you. So we want to make it a win-win.
Awesome. Well, this was an experience. I loved it. I loved being on it. I mean, the 2 hours went by pretty fast. I won't lie. When you told me, let's do a marathon for 2 hours, I was like, like what? 2 hours.
Literally, that's what you did. You were like, what? I'm like, yeah. And let's do this and let's do that. And you know what? Before we go, I want to, again, share with everyone. I know you dropped the links in the chat for the 2 max models that are ready to go. This property is at a very affordable price. So before we go, I want to bring it back to the stage real quick so that we can share this with everyone. There's so many people out there that can really literally purchase this home. All right. Oh my goodness. And that is it. That is it. Help us get these max models sold. There's more max models already breaking ground. Let's make the American dream of home ownership a reality. Let's, take the SOS Start Owning Systems project, which is our organic rent to own program, to everyone and anyone that's out there. Get out there and make things happen. And Dali, I enjoyed these 2 hours with you. So exciting.
Me too. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Give us some love. Let us know what you got out of this marathon. Hopefully you got something good. Hopefully you learned, you walked away learning something new. And tune in for next week. Next Friday, we're going to have a very special Agents in the Trenches. And just a sneak peek, it is going to be the power of alignment. So you don't want to miss it. This is going to be an incredible Agents in the Trenches. So tune in. We'll be dropping the details early next week. But until then, have an amazing weekend and reach out to us if you have any questions or need help with anything. We are here to help. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.